I think I can go on about the biggest benefits of Bitcoin, and I will right now, actually.
Yeah.
It's decentralized, meaning there's nodes and miners that are being ran in almost every single country, meaning that if one country decides to ban it, all these other countries are going to still be keeping up the network. There's Bitcoin satellites. If the power goes down, Bitcoin can be sent over radio frequencies. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a lot slower, and it's not going to run how it would be running if it was on the internet, but it's still in theory possible if like we had a power wipeout. But if we had a power wipeout, the radio signals probably wouldn't work either. So
yeah, I've seen the argument recently. The more people are, I feel like the more topic is trending in the news and social media, the more people have criticism towards it. So now that Bitcoin has been being talked about a lot lately, I've been seeing people make the arguments that it's like environmentally bad because more people are running unnecessary computers and graphics cards. Mm-hmm. I don't know how big of an impact a single...
Yeah, there's people that have been making that argument for a while, and it's partially valid, but I think as it becomes harder and harder to mine one Bitcoin, every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin reward that's given to the miner or miners who solve that block in the blockchain gets halved, and it's called the halvening, and it happens every 4 years. It happened in 2016, where it was halved from 25 to 12.5 Bitcoin per block reward, and then in 2020, it's now at 6.25. So
yeah. Just for anybody who doesn't understand, so you're using these computers to solve complex algorithms, which basically then creates a Bitcoin, which is, let's say, like a file that could never be recreated. Yeah. It's a one of one, similar to a dollar with a serial number, and basically the way Bitcoin as a technology was created every 4 years, the amount you get from mining is halved, and it was also created to where one day Bitcoin will be finite and there's never another one that can be created.
And a lot of people say, what's the incentive for miners to run the network when there's no more block reward? Yes, the native block reward will go away, but with every block that's solved, all miners get the fees that were paid in that transaction. So you could have a theoretical transaction from 2016 or 2017 where a block was solved and they were given 12.5 Bitcoin, and then maybe they received 2.75 additional Bitcoin as fees that were paid, which is why Bitcoin is not very great as a currency, because in times where Bitcoin isn't as volatile, like it's maybe flat a little bit in the market, the fees will be lower, but it's still usually about $5 to send a transaction. And so for the everyman, that's not necessarily viable as a currency, but you have people who send $10 billion worth of Bitcoin, and even if the fees were insane during a time of volatility, let's say the fees were $50, so $50 to transport $10 billion in assets. If you tried to transport $10 billion of cash, you would need a Brinks truck, security, all this type of stuff, and you would have counterparty risk. And if you tried to transport that with gold, it would be more trucks, more security guards, people who lift it and have to bring it into this institution, and then just a lot of stuff to worry about. So with Bitcoin, you can send $10 billion of value for $50. I think it does its job as a pseudo currency and a store of value well.